I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
Wow, there we go. There we go. So much better. I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. Wow, there we go. Got it. We got all kinds of craziness going on here in the studio today. But Mr. CJ Sports. There we go. So much better. Now we got rid of all that. I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I'm your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at CJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Glad to be here tonight. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nations fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, you can check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com. Glad to be here on this Thursday night. Oh, God, there is so much going on here at the 110 Nation. It is crazy. I can't give all the details yet, but we got some stuff going on here at the 110 Nation, and I'm very excited about things that we're going to be bringing to the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. We already got the Happy Hour Garage joining us. Will be joining us Sundays starting this week. Looking forward to that. But I had a friend on Facebook send a request for me to join a fan page, and joined the fan page. And we were sitting there last night after the show, and I decided I would play around a little bit and look on this fan page. Check it out, what's going on. And when I did, there we go. When I did, I saw that they had a show, and I decided I would check out the show. And got a really good kick out of listening to this show, and decided to reach out to them, and looks like there's a good possibility they will be joining the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. I hope they will. Like I said, a very, very high quality show, very entertaining, and we would add that to our Sunday schedule, and they would give us 3 different shows, about 3 hours worth of racing talk on Sundays. And how fabulous would Sundays be here at the 110 Nation? I'd be very excited if that's how it works out. So looking forward to that, and hopefully we make things work, and I'm going to definitely be trying. So don't think I'm not trying. But yeah, looking forward to that. Like I said, we're trying to fill. Right now we got 35 hours worth of available time to us through the plans we have, and we're using like 18 hours. I was doing the math earlier. I think it was 7, 21. No, I did it. We only on 5 days a week. So 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. Yes. So with the new show, that gives us 18 hours out of the 35. We would love by July 1st to use all that time. We would love to have the opportunity on 7 days a week, 5 hours a day. And so that's what we're working on. That's what we're building up to. And so I couldn't even imagine what it would be like. It's 35 hours a week. That's here in the studio, and on top of the full-time kids, and oh my God, the dog, and still unpacking. Yes, so to speak, we're still not unpacked. We took all the time off. Took all my time off at that part of the week, and so I'm just now getting time off. Like, Monday of last week, and no, I don't even know when the last time I was off. Maybe it was Monday. We're coming on second weekend now. I've done lost track of how long we've been in this house. God, it's going on 2 weeks. But I think I only had one day off, and that was spent getting the kitchen and the living room unpacked since we've moved in. Day off. I am so tired. Employee get fired for basically business. She decided she would go to the counter, to the shelves, and take stuff off the shelves and refund the stuff that we already had and wasn't even bought, and pocket that money. And so yeah, we had to cut her loose. And now not only we had to pick up hours because we're shorthanded, and we also got hours because we got to train new people, so somebody's got to be there a little bit longer. And on top of that, being back on the air, it has made it really difficult to finish up. But as I work Friday, or I'm off Friday, got a long day Saturday, 9 to 7, but no show, so I get off. I can get back to hopefully finish. Look, I got one box that's got coats that's got to go back to, or got to go into storage in the kitchen. And then Shorty's got some stuff down the hallway, the kids' stuff, and then that's it, except for our room. But our room, there's a lot of boxes, there's a lot of clothes. Oh, and I got to part way with some of these clothes. Like my weight in even this last year has fluctuated anywhere from 245 to 290, and a lot of these clothes that I have, my weight has fluctuated anywhere from 25 up to 315. So I figure out what I'm actually ever going to see myself wearing again, which I've given up some clothes. And then I got to figure out after that which ones I'm out in storage until we get closer to summertime or whatever the case may be. Because, I went from originally having a place that I had like 2,200 square feet. And I had like a 10-foot closet that I took the whole 10 closet. Like, no matter what females lived with me, I have a whole 10-foot long closet, and I've had clothes in the back room because we had technically a 5-bedroom house, but one of them was the studio. So we had a 4-bedroom house, and room was dedicated to just whatever. And I had clothes back there in the closet too. Like, I have a lot of clothes. I don't wear a lot of clothes, even though I have a lot of clothes. I know that makes sense, but I have a lot of clothes because I'll get stuff on bargain. I used to live next to work next to Foot Locker, and I probably have, I would say, 8 to 10 different colored hoodies, but the same hoodies, because they were like originally like $30 hoodies that by the time they got marked down, and by the time I got the manager discount, I paid like $5 a hoodie. That is like they had these thin long sleeve shirts. By the time the discount was said and done, I paid $1 each for them. I'm that type of person. Like, if I go to the store and I know that I'm about that size or I am that size, and I find jeans, I got jeans in there that I was almost into the size, and since they were like $5 for name brand like Polo and Levi's and they were like $5, so I was like, I'm about that size. I only got to lose a couple more pounds. I'm like, some were like 36. I was a 38-inch waist at that time, and my weight never got down, so I still have tags on them. I have a lot of clothes because I get good deals, or my mom every year sends me clothes for Christmas, and I've just accumulated stuff since I was 18. I still have clothes that, like, I was a basic training. Shirts I got from basic training center, and I get since '96, so 20 years. And what I threw away so far was clothes that I've had since I was like high school. Like, I weighed less than when I was in high school. I was a chunky kid in high school. It was horrible going to the military. Physical aspect at first. It took me a while, and that on it just went from imagine this. When I went to basic training, you had to do at least 10 push-ups. I couldn't even do 10 push-ups. A little bit over a year ago, I bench pressed 460 pounds. That tells you that tells you everything you need to know, and that's why my clothes still fit from high school. Even though I was about the same weight, probably pounds. Well, at one point 10 pounds lighter, but last year I was about 10 pounds heavier. But I was structured then, couldn't do sit-ups and push-ups, and a year ago, here I am bench pressing 460 pounds, and I'm weighing 250 pounds. So, but yeah, that's the crazy, and that's not the crazy part. For those that are listening to this show in North Carolina, or let's talk about the weather here. Snow. Like, everything is shut down. No Fort Bragg. No, for the possibility of snow. There's a possibility it's going to snow tomorrow morning. Possible. And they're not even sure how much. I've heard anywhere from 1 to 20 inches. Where I am at, it's more than 1 inch, because that's usually what it is. And everything shuts down already. Now, I'm originally from the great state of Ohio. It's where they actually see snow, and I make sure I've seen the reports, and I've seen the fact that Ohio is taking a pretty good dumping again this year. And at some point, I'm going to live back in the great state of Ohio. That is something that is already that is something that's already established, and something we already know is going to happen. There's no doubt that at some point we're going to live in the Ohio, and click on it. There we go. But I can't even talk to them about this because they're just going to laugh. Like, I can remember going to work, and we're going to talk about this. Is all going to lead into some sports. I can remember my first job before I joined the military. And I hate to sound old country, but it was literally uphills both ways. It had a hill in the middle of it. When you're going to work, you got to walk, then you got to walk up a little bit of a hill, and it's like a forever slow slant up. And then you do the same thing. You come back a little bit, and you do the same thing at different points on the way back. It was just kind of a hill in the middle. And in Ohio, to get to a level 3 snowstorm, that's some serious snow to get to that point. And I can remember my job was bound and determined they were going to get open. And so, level 3, unless you're an emergency vehicle, you're not allowed on the road. So, this 20, I want to say 20, 30 minute walk, I can't remember how long. It might even been longer than that. It was a pretty good hike. But, my work is bound and determined they're gonna open, so we got to go in. And so level 3, you can imagine this is already like knee deep snow. Here I am walking to work to sit there for like an hour or two for them to say, you know what, go ahead and close it down. And the only reason they closed it down was because we told them we have no customers. That's because we were bound and determined we were going to open up. So we just kept telling them if they pulled up, we're not open. And so then I turn around and walk all the way back. And to know that it takes weather like that for the schools to be shut and everything be shut, to be here in North Carolina and know by early this afternoon, 5-6 o'clock when I got the text message, that because there's a possibility of snow, everything's already closed for tomorrow. It is sad because I thought they had learned their lesson the last time they started doing this, giving them snow days for no reason, and then when it actually did snow, then they had to take those days off on top of that, and so therefore spring break it was cut short, and summer vacation came a little bit later because they had to make up all these days because they would jump the gun and not make a decision, wait to make a decision when something actually happened. I can't tell you how many times, whatever year that was, that these kids were out of school for days that never even seen rain, let alone snow. It's crazy. It's a crazy, crazy world. Andre Drummond last night. Talk about crazy world. 13 of 36. He from the free throw line. He's already missed more free throws. He missed more free throws in one game than Steph Curry had missed all season. Steph Curry had only missed 22. I have a serious issue with this. If you've not listened to my show, you're about to hear my serious issue with this. You get millions of dollars to play a game. Millions. The contracts are ridiculous. So LeBron James and his Nike contract and everything that adds up, and this man makes like I forget it, say $200,000 a day or something, or I forget something really ridiculous. And to get even more ridiculous, NBA TV contract kicks in and they can get even paid more. But I want to say something like $200,000 or something. But you got players making millions of dollars. Millions of dollars a year to play a basketball game. And what's ridiculous about this, and why I flip my lid every time that a professional basketball player misses a free throw. All this money that you get paid to play a sport, and you can't manage to stand at the same place every time, uncontested. There's no reason that you should miss this shot at all. Wide open every time, uncontested, same spot every time. There is no reason. And I was listening to Andre Jordan talk as I got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the LA Clippers game on. Cleveland at home. They're up by 8 points at this point right now. I heard him talk about that he's never thought about doing it underhand. That he's going to continue shooting the ball that he has been, which has worked out so great for Andre Jordan as he shoots like 30 or 40% for the year or something. I want to say it was like 42%. Instead of doing it old school like, you don't want to put yourself through the embarrassment, I guess, in front of the league and in front of your peers, and you say you're not going to do it underhanded, that you're going to continue doing it the same way that you've been doing it all this time, that has obviously been ineffective. My issue is you get paid all this money. I don't care how you look throwing it. I don't care if you got to go granny style. I don't care if you got to turn around and heave it over the top of your head, looking back throw. I don't care how you get it in there. With the money you get paid, you should be 90% or better. You should be able to hit 9 out of 10 shots on a wide open shot. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. And I've gone on record to say that, okay, I'll give you guys a curve. 80%. 8 out of 10 times. I'm sorry, but the amount of money you're making versus what the military is making versus what the cops and the fire departments and everything else is making to play a simple game of basketball, and you're telling me that you're only able to hit 3 out of 10 times, 4 out of 10 times, 6 out of... What? Hold on. LeBron, you make $200,000 a day. There is no reason ever you should miss more than one or two free throws a game. No reason. Ever. Not one or two and a half. Not one or two and a quarter. Not one or two out of 10. I'm sorry, but $200,000 a day says you make it. Almost every single time. Maybe miss one, two a game. Maybe. And that's on a bad night. I don't see how this is not more of a thing. Like it's like it's accepted in the NFL that because you have other qualities that you can be piss poor at free throws. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I need you to play. Look how many games we've watched that the free throw line and the missed free throws have cost games. Now I know it's ever going to change how because we're going to have our DeAndre Jordans, we're going to have our Shaquille O'Neals, we're going to have our Andre Drummonds. We're going to have these players that are gifted and are going to have opportunities because teams need players like that. Teams need good big men. It's already hard for the league to come by enough to fulfill every team. So I know. But it sucks because these guys make the money they do. And yet they can't hit a wide open shot uncontested from the same place every time. It drives me insane. I find it to be insulting, ridiculous how you can miss that many shots and get paid the money you get paid. It's ridiculous to me. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's ridiculous. Kobe Bryant tops list of NBA All-Star Game starters. I tell you what, fans are wanting them some Kobe in the daggone All-Star Game, ain't they? You know, I'm not going to sit there and watch the game. I can tell you right now. I have no desire to sit there and watch that is absolutely positively meaningless. It's one thing to sit here and watch the 76ers and the Minnesota Timberwolves or, teams like that are having the season they're having. It's one thing to watch them play. It's a totally different thing. It's totally different to watch a game that not only is it's pointless and nobody's putting a full effort game. At least if a piss poor performance and have to suffer through watching teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Philadelphia Sixers play each other, at least they're putting in effort. The All-Star game, we don't get that. And that was why it was great when we had Damian Bean on and talking about, the All-Star game now, dictates home ice and in the finals. And of course, the MLB does the same thing. In NASCAR, they play for $1 million or race for $1 million or $2 million. There's a purpose behind those games. And there's a reason why I'll sit and watch those. And then there's a reason why I don't watch the Pro Bowl and the NBA All-Star game. Because there's no purpose behind either one of those. Now because of Kobe Bryant in his farewell tour, as they talk about Kobe Bryant's farewell tour, has officially added another stop. The 2016 NBA All-Star Game at the Air Canada Center in Toronto on February 14th. The Los Angeles Lakers star was unsurprisingly voted in by the fans as one of the Western Conference 5 starters for the league's annual exhibition, making it his 18th All-Star appearance in the process. Kobe dominated the voting in the first returns and led all players with almost 1.9 million votes, close to 200,000 more than second place overall finisher Steph Curry. Moments like this, moments when we get the opportunity to see one of the NBA all-time greats get an opportunity to play with the league's best for one night, and the respect that is going to be shown to Kobe Bryant in this game. Moments like this, one, don't come all the time. When honestly was the last player that we can honestly truly say that is one of the greats that left the game that is truly going to be missed like a Kobe Bryant in this league? It's been a while. We've had a lot of good players and even great, with the kind of the emphasis on good/great players. But it's been a while since we've had a great, and that's all caps, bold print, exclamation point. Moments like that, I'm happy with the NBA All-Star, and yes, I will watch this game just because it is Kobe's final game, or final All-Star game, and the respect, just to watch the other players show their respect. And to give you an idea, the last time I watched an NBA All-Star game, we snuck down to the basement at the church. I believe either service was going, I think it was after service, but there was stuff going on. We snuck down and watched it. I had a little TV. I would say 5th, 6th grade for me. So that would probably put you, mid-80s? Mid to late 80s? Probably the late 80s. Probably the last time. You're talking Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, that genre. That was the last time I've sat down and watched an NBA All-Star game. I'm sorry, but the lack of any kind of effort, any kind of actual playing of the game, it does not interest me. That tells you how big I hold what's about to happen February 14th at the Air Canada Center in Toronto. And it's not even so much to watch Kobe play in the game. It's more of, I want to have the chill bumps from watching the respect from the other players. I think that what we're about to be able to see will be hair-raising, chill bump, feeling kind of excitement. Like, I can only imagine what it's going to be like to see the respect that'll be paid to Kobe Bryant in this game. But we only get these moments once in a lifetime, or once every so often. I'd be willing to bet the next time we see a player that a farewell tour is going to really hit hard, might be LeBron James, maybe Dwayne Wade, but I don't think Dwayne Wade will be on the level of Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. Um, I think you got Dwayne Wade level. Then below that, you're going to have the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce level. I'm trying to think anybody else. Tim Duncan. I think that'll be. I think a lot of respect for Tim Duncan. That might actually be your next one. It would be Tim Duncan. But we don't. That's going to be another year or two whenever Tim Duncan decides he's finally old enough to play the game. But it had been a while since we had one, and even with this stretch, we're going to have one or two. That's going to be a while before we have any more again. So to my point, it's not like we get these moments often. It's few, far, and in between. And for that reason, yes, what we're about to see this week is going to be, or this year is going to be great. But what about all the other years that we got to suffer through watching what they call an all-star game? I really wish that they would step up their game, like the NHL, like the MLB, like NASCAR, and make the all-star game have a purpose. Make me want to turn it on and watch it. I mean, because honestly, at this point, if it wasn't for Kobe Bryant, my streak of probably at least 20 years at this point would continue on. What, longer than 20 years? You're looking about 30 years. Would continue on. Without there's no doubt in my mind that I would continue not watching the All-Star game because the lack of anything to it. So part of me is kind of conflicted, and I never thought that I would be conflicted when it comes to, and as I'm talking about this, I'm watching. But the prime example, as the Clippers are down 84-70 and really need points on the board, and once again DeAndre Jordan goes to the line and misses free throws. Like, I've sat here and watched him miss 4 free throws in a row. All that money, you even swooped them away from Dallas, as it looked like Dallas was going to sign them and get Jordan from the Clippers. The Clippers pay all that money to get him. And yet they foul him once again. And they're going to continue to build this lead. Until they can't milk it no more. As they intentionally fouled him in. And we're only in the third. And Cleveland's just building. They're just bringing players off the bench to foul him. And this is probably exactly what I'm talking about. All that money, and you can't hit an uncontested. He got lucky. That bounced about 10 times before it fell in. But uncontested shot at the same place every time. And yet, you can't hit it. But I never thought I would be conflicted on the All-Star game. Wow, he hit two. He hit 2 after missing 4 straight. Kind of surprised. But I never thought I'd be conflicted because I have gone so long without watching this for the sheer purpose of no reason. And right now, you're looking at, and I still don't have a purpose other than Kobe Bryant, because you got a pretty decent roster and an all-star group. But to know that I'm actually going to sit down and watch it and kind of end that streak just because of the legacy versus, like I said, this is new territory because I've never been conflicted. It's always been fix it, give us a reason to watch it. And then this year they kind of do with Kobe Bryant being in the game, but that's it. That's the only reason. And to see how the respect, crazy. We got your rosters for the All-Star game. Like I said, February 14th, so we're looking about 3 weeks away still. You got Kawhi Leonard, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and Kobe Bryant are your Western Conference starters. Those are your. That's a pretty decent. It's a little bit more than decent. That's a pretty good roster right there. I like that. Kobe, Kevin, Leonard, Curry, Westbrook. That'd be entertaining to watch. Especially if they can pass the ball around. If they can pry the ball away from Westbrook, that'd be fun to watch. Steph Curry and his 3-pointers, Westbrook and his explosiveness, Leonard and his all-around everything, Kevin Durant, and then can the Black Mamba show up? I wonder if he'll be voted MVP. I wonder how much of a performance Kobe Bryant has to put on to win the MVP. I have a feeling that he don't necessarily have to try as hard as any other year to be MVP. I wonder if anybody else will accept the MVP award, knowing that this is Kobe's last year. Or would they all just automatically default and let Kobe Bryant have it? I mean, he's kind of been the MVP of the league for a while. I mean, kind of when there was that slump of lack of a bunch of players, talented players actually coming out. I mean, there was always Kobe Bryant. He kind of helped carry the league until you had the next genre of basketball players, the next era. Your LeBron Jameses and your Paul Pierces and your Kevin Garnett's, when they finally got themselves together in Boston and became an actual force, and your Kevin Durant's and Westbrook's. I mean, there was that gap. Your Paul George's and everything. Eastern Conference. I just wonder if anybody would be willing to take it away from them. LeBron James, really no surprise. Paul George, PG-13 with the season he's been having. Carmelo Anthony, surprisingly enough, the Knicks are actually looking pretty decent this year. Dwayne Wade, is he thanked the fans for letting this old man in. And Kyle Lowry, second appearance for him. A lot of young and unexperienced. Lowry's second, Dwayne Wade, of course, his 12th, Melo, his 9th, Paul George is only his 3rd, LeBron, of course, his 12th, only his 5th, Steph Curry, only his 3rd, Kawhi Leonard, his 1st, Durant, it's only his 7th, and then you got Kobe with 18th. But, yeah, a lot of younger, less experienced all-star participants, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But I don't know. I don't quite like. The Eastern Conference as well. I could see the Western Conference coming out and doing severe damage to the Eastern Conference. I mean, LeBron James, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, Wade, Lowry. I mean, those guards. I can't see how Lowry and Wade are expected to keep up with Westbrook and Curry. And then that 3 for 3. I mean, the only thing going for in favor of the Eastern Conference is the fact that this is Kobe's 18th appearance and he's worn down. But I mean, how tough do we plan on LeBron James, who's already showed a lot of respect and has said a lot already? But LeBron James, Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony, how hard do we honestly expect any of them? I mean, Paul George had that, freakish accident, USA. Carmelo Anthony, he's had his injury issues. I mean, on top of the respect thing, that's first and foremost, but also the what ifs, and I just can't imagine the players really caring to really guard one of the NBA greats. But I'm going to watch. Like I said, the respect. I can't pass that up. I think that I'm not an emotional guy, and nor am I a guy that is necessarily that drawn into sports. But like I said, I think the respect that we'll see from the players towards Kobe Bryant when it comes to I think that having the opportunity to sit there and watch the respect that's going to be paid to Kobe Bryant, I think that is going to be a moment that I can't pass up. That it will be a moment. And so looking forward to that and looking forward to the opportunity of be able to sit there and watch that. I can't express how just thinking about it now, just thinking, I'm already trying to plot, February 14th, and now I'm trying to figure out work. Gotta do the manly duties for that day. Gone Valentine's Day, really, and it's a Sunday night, so I don't have to worry about work. So, and the odds are I don't have to worry too much about the manly duties as well while the game's going on, because more than likely work. So I probably will luck out all the way around and be able to watch this game with no problem. So I think that the what's the chances? That is funny. So I'm a the question was imposed to me. What are the chances we see Denver and Carolina in the Super Bowl? So I'm texting my response here. The question, why do I not see a percent? There we go. The question was, what are the percentages, or what's the odds? Yeah, what are the chances we see Denver and Carolina in the Super Bowl? Being how my response is, being how I predicted, my preseason prediction was, this is what I said. My preseason prediction was Arizona, New England. So I'm figuring 0 chance that we're going to see the exact opposite in that Super Bowl, since I predicted the exact opposite of what you're asking. But yeah, that's I thought the best response I could give at this moment. And I hate responding to people that message me in the middle of a show, but I just thought it was funny. It was a sports question, and the fact that I've talked about that. That's been my that was my preseason prediction: Arizona and New England. And of course, I have Arizona, and I'm not one to bet against Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. It's very rare I go against them. And I tell people all the time, you don't bet against Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. But there was something about that Arizona team last year, up until the quarterback injuries that piled up, that told me that was a team last year. And they only got better in the offseason. So that's who I got to go with. But I just thought it was funny that you picked the exact opposite. Want to know the chances of the exact opposite of what I predicted going to the Super Bowl. So that was the only reason. The Panthers game have them winning, and it has New England winning too. Well, I don't think Vegas has got Carolina and New England. Of course, a lot of people down here in North Carolina, they are desperately wanting to watch a Carolina and New England game, with their hopes that New England Carolina wins this time. They want an opportunity to get payback, even though it's not even the same scenario, but nor the same teams, anything close. You're talking years at this point. But yeah, that's rather funny to me. And oh goodness, 10 o'clock already. How about Cavaliers still up 90-77? Other games going on in the NBA. New Orleans actually winning a game tonight. Beat Detroit 90-88, 102-88 now. Memphis over Denver right now, 52-41. Oh, back on the New Orleans game. They got 6 minutes left in the game. Memphis over Denver, 52-41 with 2:52 left. Tell you what, Memphis is such a weird team to me, because they just all over the place. They win one game and lose 30 points. They win one game and lose by 20 points. They win a couple games and they lose another game by 30 points. They're just all over the place. That team just, I can't figure it out. It saved my life. What up with the Grizzly team? Later on tonight, Atlanta at Sacramento and San Antonio at Phoenix. You know what? I try to get excited when it comes to watching a San Antonio game. And to me, this is between watching a San Antonio game and watching a Golden State game. I mean, we know the likelihood of who's going to win, no matter if we watch a Golden State game or a San Antonio game. We know by watching 40 games and what 6 losses between the two of them, that the odds are, or what, 10 losses? Is it what, 10 losses? Are. We have 75 wins, so 10 losses in 85 games. What the odds are? Look at this dead smack, and you're looking at about 90% win rate. San Antonio's going to win. So to unless you're a die-hard Golden State fan or San Antonio fan, it takes a little bit of work to work yourself up to want to watch. Because you already know the odds are. You already know who's going to win. So it don't matter who it is. If I already know the end of the game, I'm not going to go back and watch the game 9 out of 10 times. I think The only games that I actually go back and watch sometimes is the season games if they replay them on NFL Network. And that's so I can see what some of the talent that either we're going to keep or we're stupid enough not to keep, are playing. Regular season, you got the same Joe Schmoes on offense, same Joe Schmoes on defense. So if I already know who, the likelihood of me sitting there and putting myself through, especially if we lose, watching it's not. I'd rather watch another game. And I feel kind of the same way when it comes to watching Golden State and San Antonio. It's like I already know who won the game. I already know. The difference between Golden State and San Antonio is they do it in two different techniques. Like San Antonio with these veterans, it's like a slow, torturous massacre. Like, it's not like Golden State. Golden State's going to come out and they're just going to bury you in threes. And they're going to be up by 30 points by the half or by 20 points in the first quarter. San Antonio's going to slowly pull, slowly beat you. I mean, they're winning by an average of 14 points a game. 14.3, that's even more than Golden State. But they don't do it with the same kind of freshness and the young youthfulness of the Golden State. I guess the only reason why I can put myself through watching most of a Golden State game, and there's no offense to either one of these teams. I actually like saying it. I have my issues with Golden State because, one, you beat my team last year, but a couple of players I feel that they're portion because they happen to be on a championship team. It's not even that. It's not because of who they are. It's because they win by such a margin. It makes it unfun for me to watch. The only thing is, Golden State, they 3-4 watch. Like, you want to see how many times can hit it, or how hot they can get, or is Klay Thompson actually on for the night, and both of them light it up. And how ridiculous can they get with these 3-pointers? That's the only reason I get sucked into watching any Golden State game. And then once it gets out of hand, I turn it off because it's no. Or I'll kind of periodically look, and maybe I'll see some 3-pointers. So I not pay a lot of attention, but Curry gets the ball, I'll kind of keep an eye on and see if the Clippers have got a 6 point. It was 90-77, and now it's 80 or 93 to 87. So 10-3 run for Golden State here. And they just got the ball back. So I started looking about finishing this game up. But you already know that these teams are going to win by margin. And the likelihood your ending result, they're going to win. I mean, 75 out of 85, this has happened. It's the two different styles that makes one of them a little bit more tolerable to watch than the other. And like I said, it's no shot again. It could be any team. Like I said, you got to be a diehard. Cleveland is the only team I can sit there and watch on the performance that San Antonio or Golden State, either play style, is doing, and I can sit there and watch it all. And like I said, that right now, these seasons, this kind of for both these teams, really is only for the diehard San Antonio or Golden State fans. Because just the NBA fan, just the general fan, period, they're not going to want to watch on a regular basis these two teams massacre everybody. Two different styles, but end result comes out the same every time. It's just not going to happen. Like I said, Cleveland fans, if Cleveland's doing it, yes. But like I said, you got to be a diehard fan of that team to be entertained by it. Crazy. Crazy, man. Odds are 10:30 tonight. Well, 11 o'clock when we get off the show. Odds are I'll probably watch some of the San Antonio Phoenix games, especially since I'm here by the house. At the house by myself, the kids are not even coming home because of the possibilities, the possibilities of snow. they're worried about power going out everywhere, and so grandparents got a generator, so they're going to keep the kids at this whole possible snow. It is rather entertaining to me. But you know what? I don't care because I got tomorrow off. I don't have to deal with none of it. Zilch, zelch, nada, done. Oh. Well, Larry Fitzgerald, fastest player to have 10 touchdowns in a post. Insane. It's insane. No, let's talk. You would think that everything he does on and off the field, that he would be in the topic of conversation more times than he is. Like, I'm not saying he's got to be in the topic of, on the topic of best receiver all time, or top this, top 20, top 50. I'm not even saying that. But you would think that there would be a little more talk about Larry Fitzgerald. Like, it's, there's so much attention paid to players that for all the wrong reasons. And it's sad. Then you get a player like Larry Fitzgerald that does just about everything right. Not too much you could say. I don't know. I personally can't say anything negative at all about Larry Fitzgerald. And it's, I don't know, crazy to me to know that you have a player that has accomplished everything he has accomplished and is as good as he is, and you just don't really hear about him much. But then you get some of the ass clowns that you have in the league, and here we are talking about them on a regular basis. We had the opportunity to watch the movie Concussion, and matter of fact, I loaded out and I'm waiting for to get my copy back. But good movie. Really good movie. And unfortunately for me, I don't know, I'm about to seem really heartless and cold and anything else, I guess, at this point that you would like to throw out there. But even after watching the movie, my opinion hasn't really changed. That I understand it sucks. And I understand that there's a really good possibility that the NFL knew more than they knew, or more than they were willing to share. I understand that. But when it comes to this whole concussion thing, it doesn't matter how much the player knows, as long as the contracts are paying what they're getting paid. I've always been a firm believer that regardless if they knew back then what they do now, it wouldn't have changed anything. Football players know that there is a really good possibility. Well, I'm going to say really good. It's not happened or happened often anyway. But there's a possibility that you're not even going to walk off the field. That the size, the speed, the strength of these players, the wrong hit could paralyze you. They also know that there's possibilities of death could happen. Broken bones could happen. There's multiple things that could happen. And yet, we still have 32 53-man roster teams. We still have hundreds of colleges full of football players ready to come up in the NFL. We have thousands and thousands of high schools with full rosters playing. There's thousands and thousands of little league leagues going on. So regardless if they knew, football players would still play. Then all this happened and continues to happen. And they want you to believe that there was more hidden. And I don't care if there was more hidden or not. Proven by the fact that, okay, now we're paying as we know. Now, yes, the NFL is released and more information has been released that, yes, they possibly knew more than what they knew. Okay. So now it's all out in the open. And yet, we still have 32 53 teams. What do you know? Nothing changed. Maybe Mr. CJ Sports knows what he's talking about, because if it mattered at all to these players about this information, we wouldn't have 32 rosters with 32 53-man rosters. So obviously, the players in the NFL know the risk, have now been educated even more, and yet they're still playing for those millions of dollars. Randall L. coming out talking about that if he could go back, that he wouldn't go back, that he'd have played baseball. I'm sorry you feel that way. I am sorry that you want to turn your back on a sport that you knew while playing it, the risk. Turn your back on a sport that gave you a very comfortable lifestyle. Turn your back on a sport that has you having a very comfortable retirement. All these things that you're turning your back on, you had no problem with it while you were playing the game and getting that money. I understand that there are side effects, and I understand that trouble walking, memory, all these things that are happening. I watched, like I said, I watched the movie. I understand. I understand that players have committed suicide and everything else. I understand this. I sympathize. It sucks. Nobody should have to go through that. But if you're willing to play, you're wanting to make that money, my sympathy only goes but that far. I'm sorry, but I can't sympathize with somebody because of what they're going through now, because they were enjoying and loving their cause. Me sympathizing or feeling bad for someone that has some kind of issue because they OD'd on coke or shot too much meth or smoked too much rock or whatever. You chose that lifestyle. I guess the biggest difference was one made you millions of dollars and the other one cost you all your money and your teeth. But I have little sympathy for anybody who puts themselves in a circumstance or chooses a lifestyle that later on they may pay for it. Such as the concussions, executive memory loss, and unable to stay focused or walk, and all the side effects that we've been seeing from it. I don't know what NFL players, the fans that sympathize with the players, what everybody is wanting me to say, or wanting anybody that sit there and honestly thinks about it for a second. What do you want? What do you want? What words do you want to come out of our mouth? Like, I see a lot of people that have like this reaction every time I say it, but I'm like, this man was making some odd $1 million. Like, he knew the consequences. He might not have known all the side effects at the time for the concussions. They know now. They might have not known then, but they also know all the risks that they were taking outside of that anyway. They wanted all those zeros in their paycheck. Why am I supposed to sympathize now? Why am I supposed to feel bad now? I mean, I'm the one that sits here in this little crap hole place that we got. Like I said, it's an upgrade from what we got. It's still not the greatest. We make ends meet and we live comfortably. I mean, we did move into about twice the size that we were in before. Knowing what I know now, knowing what I seen in the movies, if I had an opportunity, I would take my chances. I mean, let's think about all the players, all those 53 rosters, and all the rosters, period, since, 1990s or 1900s, whenever the hell the NFL or football started. And hell, they weren't even playing or really any padding. Let's think about all the players versus all the concussions and ill effects from the concussions. I think my odds to make that money versus saying, you know what, nah, I would rather go flippers or whatever the case may be and not play what I had been dreaming about my whole life. I just don't see that. Honestly, I think the NFL should have, and I don't know if they've done it or not, but need to put some clause in there. Look, can't sue us. Like, that should have been in there anyway. all the health risks that this sport has. Why not? And to me, that's just like the people out there being able to sue the cigarette company. I don't care if the cigarette company was 100% truthful or not. You knew that it was not good for you. There has never once been a tobacco company, a cigarette company, say smoke ours, they're healthy for you. You knew there was a risk. I don't think anybody should ever have been rewarded any kind of money or awarded any kind of money from the companies. I'm sorry. Just like I don't think that anybody should be able to sue the NFL regardless what they knew or did not know about concussions because that changed nothing. Stop playing because of the research that was found. I would have to play. I would take my chances. I don't know. It kind of rubs me the wrong way when you have players gripe about it, and I know I shouldn't feel that way. But all you just sit there and think to yourself is really like you made. I'm struggling to make ends meet. I'm out here, and I'm not talking about now specifically. Yes, we could use an increase in pay, and it would make life a lot easier, and we wouldn't have to stress as much, or do this or do that sometimes. But we survive. I mean, I remember growing up, and we would have to go cut lawns just to eat that night. Like that, it was hard times. And all I can sit there and think when I hear these players say it is, you have the audacity now to complain about the lifestyle you got to live because of a risk you knew that there could be negative outcomes. You might have not have known about the concussion, but you knew all the other risks that it could possibly happen, and yet you didn't walk away from the sport. That's just one more possibility that you would have ignored anyway. And you never once had to worry about if there was going to be food on your table. If there was going to be electricity to have the lights on and the hot water heater working and the light, all that. I've had my water current turned off a couple times throughout my lifetime. So I'm sorry if I got to listen to some player talk about the concussions after they spent the last 15, 20 years of their life living very, very well and not having to worry about anything. I'm sorry that I don't have a little more sympathy for players. I'm sorry that knowing, and it's not me hating, it just, you got to live the life you wanted to live. No bid to change that. Yes, sucks. Now you got health issues the rest of your life. But like mom and dad always said, there's not a such thing as a get rich quick scheme, and that's kind of what the NFL is. You go from being some hoodlum in the ghetto at your high school, you get a rise, you kind of step up and make a and go to college, still broke. Then all of a sudden, day one in the NFL, you're a millionaire. It's a get rich quick scheme. I don't know. Part of me wants to feel bad because they're hurt. The other part of me, I have no sympathy at all because the lifestyle, the stress-free life they gotta live. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And honestly, to me, if I'm the NFL, it's kind of an insult when we took care of you and provided you a very nice life, and you decided to turn your back on the very thing that provided you with that just because something happened that you knew was a possibility would happen. I'm sorry. It's just me. I don't know, and I don't know how many other people out there feel the same way, but there just too many people out there that are still playing the sport, even knowing what we know now, to ever believe or even want to even begin to think if it made a difference, because I don't think it would have. I think this is just a lot of players out there's opportunity to get one last final paycheck out of the NFL before I'm not saying that the injuries ain't real, because I completely believe they're real, and like I said, I know it sucks because there's a good possibility that you didn't know all the side effects, didn't expect all this, but the other side of me knows that it was. Cleveland ended up holding on to beating the LA Clippers 115-102 as they end up widening that lead a little bit and coasting home for the victory. Victory! Actually, guys, check us out on Twitter. You can check me out at CJ Sports One, the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Also, check us out on Facebook, the 110 Nations page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, check us out at www.the110nation.com or www.the110nationsports.com for the latest going on. The first one was our company site. The second one was our blog site, which will be all getting updated tomorrow. Got a long day, a lot of 110 stuff to be doing tomorrow, so looking forward to that. Get back in the swing of things and having a grand old time, I guess. Talking about the football stuff, though. It's crazy because, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about all the years. Obviously, I played football for 3 years, and obviously, mine was at a very young age. So, I didn't have necessarily the size, the strength, or the speed coming at me, or had myself to make these hits to be as hard and as fierce as we see in the NFL. But the only time that I ever got to playing football was in the backyard playing. And I'm going to describe this. and pause for a second. Just thinking about the football field makes me wonder how something did not get broken, or how we did not have a serious injury, or how we did not have a broken window. I lived in this neighborhood, in this little small brick community. Now it's a big brick community, but small brick community of Huber Heights, home of the Wayne Warriors. Braxton Miller, most recently, most acknowledged at this point is Braxton Miller, went to the same high school as me. But obviously, and unfortunately not at the same time, but we went to the same high school. But the way that the neighborhood was where we lived, we was like in this big school. It was like 2 circles, almost like a crazy 8. with a little ear, I guess, a little half eight or half circle added onto one of the loops. But it was pretty much, and if the backs, I guess from the road, you would look at the top circle on the 8. If it wasn't kind of a big slope downhill and then back uphill, we probably would have had bike races that consist of running it like an 8. And I forgot, the bike had also a line that kind of went through the middle of it. So you didn't have to go completely around the whole bottom circle. You could actually cut through it. But you didn't save that much time because it kind of swerved like a snake inside. But anyway, we lived in the bottom circle. This is closest to the road, so we're going to call it the bottom circle. And you can visualize this road that makes the circle, and you've got houses on both sides going all the way around. But on the inside, like I said, there's a line going through it, so it was kind of cut in half. So on the one side, now you got houses that circle the inside, almost like a half moon. Well, these yards for these houses, since they were all on the road, all backed up. The backyards all kind of backed up to each other, just perfect enough to have like a football field. Maybe not a field. And hell, if it wouldn't have been for, like, I think one tree to the side and the power boxes we're going to talk about, I think you would have had like a perfect football field. But anyway, now and visualize, we got nothing but pretty much rectangle townhouse brick houses. That was our out of bounds. And we didn't play two-hand touch. So how someone didn't get swung headfirst into a brick wall or pushed hard enough where they go flying into a brick wall is beyond me at this point, thinking about it. Or being pushed just before you right where you're in between houses and someone didn't catch a corner of a house by being pushed or something. It's beyond me, thinking about it now. Nor how a football did not end up going through a window. Or how the fact that we had like 4 or 5 power boxes. And not the big one that you just had to avoid one big one. It was like 4 or 5 smaller. They stood probably 3 feet high at least. I mean, we could hurdle them. And they were probably a good 10 by 10 inches or so. We either played what we call back then, I don't know if it's politically correct still or not, or allowed to be said or not, but I'm saying anyway, I don't give 2 craps. But we used to play what we call Smear the Queer. And then we also used to play, 5-on-5, 7-on-7, whatever. And it just so happened the neighborhood that I moved into had a bunch of kids at the same age. We all went to elementary school together. We all went to middle school together. And so forth and so forth until everybody started moving out. We all still kept going to the same school together, but we just all happened to live in the same neighborhood at different point, at that point in time. So we had, the capabilities of having like 7-on-7. Like we had a lot of people, and not only that, there was a bunch of Tuesday Villa, Wednesday Villa. Like there was a bunch of villas, like so there was a bunch of neighborhoods around. So. It always worked out, so we had a lot of people. But just thinking back, I as far as I know, I'm the only one that had a serious injury. And it wasn't like it was super serious, but I did take my head to a chin open and had to have stitches. And that was the only injury I ever had playing football. The only time ever, 3 years of playing for the city and all the times playing in the backyard, that was the only time. And as a matter of the longest time after that, we would play 2-on-2 or 3-on-3. And it would be two-hand touch, and it would get pretty rough on the blacktop. So if you got pushed too hard, which I did that a few times. I pushed somebody too hard, and the driveway kind of went uphill slant, so you would lose your step and then go taking a dive. Or if you just tripped or whatever, you're hitting the blacktop. We played on the blacktop as well. But hell, we even played what we call jungle basketball. I'm assuming everybody calls it the same thing, where basically you're trying to tackle each other. One year where we had a sheet of ice like 6 inches thick covered the town. Like, everything was shut down for a week because everything was just iced over. And we're out there playing basketball, trying to tackle each other on what is basically a skating rink. But more specifically, the football, since we're talking about football, it amazes me that we did not have any really serious injuries and more injuries, period. I mean, to know, and when I say these 4 or 5 power boxes were out there, like, from the sideline, I'd be willing to bet that we probably had a 5-yard gap from the brick house to the first power box, and then they were spread across like the next 3 to 5 yards. Then it was clear until you had the one tree that was probably about 5 yards from the other sideline yard, but it was kind of a little bit farther up. But yeah, these power boxes were like, and so you would kind of, it was kind of like a fork in the road. Either you went to the right, well, depending on which way you're running, but ran one way and you had that 5-yard gap between the power boxes and the house, or you went to the other direction and you had probably a good 20 yards or so width-wise. It was a pretty field to have. So, but there was a good 3 to 5 yards that right in the middle. And so if you're looking for a pass or back up or not paying attention, you're going to be, your feet are going to be taken from out underneath you. And to know that we did that all those years and never once had a serious injury or anything close to it, really, that is beyond me. But to sit there and think how the possibilities of injuries. I mean, the first city league I played in, it was more of an age gap, and it was like a 2 or 3 year age. It wasn't like the other city league that I played for, and it was only 4th grade. It was only 5th grade. It was only 6th grade. It was only 7th grade. No, the first one, it was like you get 4th and 5th together, and 1st, 2nd, 3rd together. It was really insane. But not even really think about injuries at all. And I guess because I was so young, you're talking 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. I mean, like, outside of me bumping my forehead on someone's chin, and hell, that next football game I wanted to play, it just had to be an exhibition game. Our was so big we had to have 2 teams, and every year we would play for the VA, and we ended up winning 8-6. I know it's sad, I can remember that. Not too many games I can remember the scores of, but I remember the only game I sat out ever. We won 8-6. Like I said, it was an exhibition game, but I suited up. I wanted to play, and look, I was running back. I was key player, offense and defense, linebacker, cornerback, defensive end. I played on the defense, safety. So I was pretty much a very key, big, and we ran. We hardly ever passed, and I hardly ever took a play off. So I was pretty much the production on the offense. So, one, it tore me up to not to be in there, but the coaches, exhibition game, we need you for the regular season. We did really good. Matter of fact, when I was moving, I was going through all the newspaper clippings my mom kept, and I was in that paper a lot. I was a quick little white boy back in the day. Now I'm just a big, bulky white guy. But never really thought about it. And honestly, throughout all the years of watching the sport, I never really sat there and thought about it. It wasn't one of those things that was on top of my list. Not until all this came out. But I said it wouldn't have changed nothing. It wouldn't have changed nothing for me. I'd have continued playing the sport. Pay that money. I mean, hell, even over the last couple of years, I've contemplated in doing a arena, trying out for an arena at my age. I'd say once in my lifetime I played some type of football professional, and it's like semi-pro, it's arena league, but it's a professional league. They travel stateswide. I just wanted to be able to tell my son that I played football. unfortunately, and well, fortunately, but unfortunately, the thing I got to say is I competed professionally in, bench press competitions. I got a first place and a first and a third. Yeah, first and third or first and second, I can't remember now. Trophies. If I wasn't too lazy right now, if I wouldn't have been worked all day, I'd get up and see. I know one's first. I can't remember if the other one's second or third. It seemed like it's third. Now, the funny thing is, the third place trophy one was at a Gold Classic. It's a really nice trophy. It looks like to be an expensive trophy. The first place one, it's rather cheap. It's really tall, but it's really cheap looking. But I wanted to be able to, I was in good shape, especially when I was competing. I was 225 back then, and really small and really fast. And I would have really loved being able to. I had the opportunity to say that I competed, as an adult, in a professional football league. To add to that, physicality's not been something that I've really shied away. Yes, not in the shape I want to be right now, and hoping summer things change. Working where I work, I've put on a lot of weight. Well, not a lot of weight. I put on 30 pounds in a little over a year. But it's definitely different what I was a little over a year ago. Because I was benching 460, and now, I couldn't imagine what I could bench or not bench. Nowhere close to where I would like to be. Let's put it that way. But I can honestly say I don't think that. Like I say, I don't think. I know that I was. And, the competitive. Knowing the competitive mentality of these players, there's no doubt that none of these players would have changed their mind. They would have continued doing what they were doing. They love what they're doing, and that's kind of the bottom line on that. But yeah, it's crazy. Only reason I was even talking about me playing football was the fact that I just was sitting there thinking I never really thought about injuries, and obviously concussion wasn't going to be one of those I would have even thought of. But, I played multiple sports too. I played baseball. And honestly, I took a baseball about an inch away from my boyhood at the time. I never would have even thought about that. Sadly enough, as a catcher, I never would have thought about it. And so I don't want to say it's, people just don't think about it and it's not that important. Because obviously it is. And we got a lot of lies by it. I just never thought about it, but and again, I never thought about wearing a cup as a catcher, so it's kind of, that's like I never thought about taking, we see pitchers all the time take a hit right back at them, and we've seen some serious hits and some ugly, horrific, and I had one, I was a pretty good pitcher. I loved to pitch. And for those that don't know me, I don't abuse my power, but I like being in charge. I like controlling what happens. Like I love that I've been a manager, a general manager, but a manager in general since my first job, my whole life. So since I was 18, I had to wait till I was 18 before I could actually have a title. I enjoy being the CEO in the company. And anybody that's ever worked for the 110 Nation, they all tell you the same thing. I'm about as easy as they come, and I do my fair share. I'm not one of those, when I say that, I'm not one of those people that just want to be a dictator, a Hitler, push my way, or I'm this and I'm that. No, it's nothing like that. I like having the opportunity. Basically, I would love to be the quarterback of a football team. I love it. My thoughts and my hands-on dictate a lot of things, the different aspects of my life, and I like that. I would rather be in control of it than someone else. And and then talking about the whole being in charge, and I never forgot what I was going to talk about. Goodness. That's why I'm not supposed to do two things at once a lot of times, because that's what gets me caught up. But I wasn't doing two things at once. I was just talking about, trying not to make it seem like I'm some guy that's just power hungry, because that's not it. I just like be able to control. I got tracked to my point I was even trying to make. Oh, baseball, pitching. There you go. So I love being a pitcher. And this is obviously when I stopped being a pitcher and then when I became a catcher and all that work. I threw that ball and that ball came back faster than I threw that thing. And I ducked. I got out of the way. I was lucky. But after that, once you've been startled or shooken up, there ever opportunity of going back. And once that ball came back as fast as it did, and if I wouldn't have hit the ground because I did, that thing would have plowed. I was paranoid from their pitching, and I did not care to be back behind on the mound ever again. I'm sorry, but I had never gave it a thought until that ball came back flying at me. And then after that shook my confidence. And it also, now it took me out of the, because now when I throw, I'm kind of throwing and kind of carrying my weight to the side, so if that ball comes back, it's only hitting me on the back side of the butt as I'm backing away from the play versus still looking at it head on. So now I am not as effective as a field player, on top of not being an effective pitcher anymore. But that's just the way I was. Like, I never thought about these things, but why I even started about talking about my younger days in sports, because I had never thought about these injuries. And then I'm sitting there thinking about all the stuff I think about and how clueless I was, I guess. I don't know. Oh, goodness. Which quarter is most from a Super Bowl win? Question that was been posted. That's interesting. I mean, you got Cam Newton having the go easy, flashy, all in your face season that if you don't win it, then people start pointing fingers and talk about flashiness and the celebration and the stupid dab garbage and all that stuff. So obviously it's a big deal for Cam Newton to win. Plus to overcome the fact that he was kicked out for stealing and cheating and the whole pay to play at Auburn and everything else that, he's built on his sheet here. It'd be big for Cam. Then you got Carson Palmer, played for the Bengals, couldn't get over the winning hump. Then you say, trade me for us or nobody. Then they go ahead and cave in because they decide they need to get something out of you versus not getting your out of shape. So now you help kickstart the Oakland program, but you're only there for a year, getting yourself back in shape and moving to Arizona. Then the what ifs. What if you wouldn't have got hurt last year? Was that going to be a Super Bowl run? And now you got this year. So you got two that need a Super Bowl win underneath their belts and have reasons why they would benefit most from it. Then you got Tom Brady. I mean, now you get the opportunity to shut people up for Deflategate, which shouldn't even be an issue anyway, and Spygate, and any other gate that you guys want to label onto the New England Patriots. And then you got to shut up the haters that are calling him a crybaby and everything else. Then you start solidifying how... We already know he's one of the greatest all times. I'm not saying he's the greatest, but one of the greatest. Now this fighting on how far up that list do you put Tom Brady? Has he now become the best of the best? I mean, where you have him at now, and what would you put him after he wins yet another Super Bowl. Defying all odds. I mean, we had written off the New England Patriots at the beginning of last season, and then injury after injury. I mean, you lost your 3 receivers. You lost Danny Amendola. You lost the other slot receiver. I can't believe I'm even drawing a blank right now, and I had it a second ago. And then you lost Gronkowski. You had to pull Steven Jackson. How would this not be a victory for Tom Brady? Then there's Peyton Manning. Was benched for Osweiler. Has a tendency of collapsing in the playoffs. Lost to the Seattle Seahawks a few years back. That man can benefit from a Super Bowl win. Which quarterback benefits the most? It would probably have to be Peyton Manning. It don't matter win or lose, Tom Brady is going down as one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Might not put him in top 3 at this point if you lose yet another Super Bowl. Possibly could still keep there. Not such a big deal. Carson Palmer, well, you could chalk up to some of the injuries. You can chalk it up to the lack of experience. There's things you could chalk pull against away from. Kind of the same with Cam Newton, but you can also throw in the fact that you lost Travis Benjamin, Jonathan Stewart. Depending on how much he plays, there are different things you can do. Plus, just the sheer inexperience of being this far in the playoffs. Peyton Manning, to me, has got to be your guy. Because of the fact that he was benched, coming off the injury. Because of the fact he was brought to the Denver Broncos. And Denver gave up their potential future, really, regardless if it was Tim Tebow or anybody else. And just on the current. That is the quarterback that ends. I think that might be it. I think he's kept it hush-hush because if he loses, he wants another opportunity, a full season. Or at least to see how he's going to feel coming back again. If he wins it all, I think that's it. I wouldn't blame him. Why not go out on top? Why put yourself through another season like you started to put yourself through this year? And the way that most of this year is going, why would you not say, you know what? I started off the season rocky. I got hurt. I got benched. I got to finish the season as a starter and win the Super Bowl for the Denver Broncos. I'm done. Drop the mic right there. That's why he is going to benefit the most. He'll be able to walk away from the sport. He won't have to suffer any more injuries. The whole HGH talk, which is really irrelevant because it was not a banned substance in the sport at the time, that'll start to go away because now, why does anybody care now? He's playing the sport. There's a lot of things that benefit Peyton Manning, and that's got to be, if I had to pick a quarterback, that quarterback fits the most from a Super Bowl win. Don't forget, we got the 110 Nation Sports Show Friday, 9 p.m. till 11. Yes, we're getting ready to wrap this up. We got 9 o'clocks, Monday through Friday. No, I said clocks. Starting Monday, we'll be back on the air. I finished getting everything unpacked tomorrow. It's just been too hectic, but we'll be back on Monday morning. Thursday nights, normally we have the Racing with Big Sweat, p.m., He's been going through some health issues. Hopefully we get him back next week. Sunday, we got the Midwest Horsepower Hour at 9 p.m. Congratulations to the Midwest Horsepower Hour. They also will now be broadcast on the I-95 Sports Network. Want to welcome Hour Garage. We got them on board. We'll be rebroadcasting their show Sunday. Not 100% sure what time. I will know by tomorrow night's show. Have a Skype phone call with them tomorrow to get the details. Once they complete the show, I will download it, put it on our network, have an opportunity to catch it right when it's done, when they're done recording it. Hopefully by tomorrow we'll have more details on the other show that hopefully we'll have on board so we can go 3 hours of 3 different shows of racing on Sundays. I'm very excited and hoping that all pans out. You can check me out on Twitter at CJ Sports 1, the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Check us out on Facebook, my personal page, CJ Sports, the 110 Nations fan page, 110. Also, our site, www.the110nation.com, which I'll be updating tomorrow, and www.the110nationsports.com, our blog site, which I'll be having an article up on there tomorrow. So make sure you guys check all that out. Got to thank I-95 Sports Network for being patient while we were down. Glad to be back on the network. Don't forget, you can also check us out on Spreaker, Stitcher, Blog Talk Radio, SoundCloud, iTunes, multiple ways. Don't forget the 110 Nation Sports Show is live on BTR Anchor every night. Also, the Midwest Horsepower Hour will be as well, as I've made both these shows possible to be live at the same time on both platforms. Very excited about finally getting that to work too. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, we'll be right back here. Get you guys ready for the championship game, all the NBA action, talk some NASCAR. We got Dylan Martin joining us next on the 26th. We got a bunch of guests ready for you guys. As Miss Lee has been working hard behind the scenes. A lot of guests getting ready to look forward to it. A lot of great drivers. I think we got Dylan Lumpton coming back on the show. We've had him on before in the ARCA Series. I think he's got a K&N Pro Series or another ARCA Series run. Right, I can't remember which one I saw as we did release on our Facebook page. But we got a lot of great guests getting ready on the show. So looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to getting the schedule, but I know we got Dylan Martin already locked in for next week. We're about to get back into a lot of great guests like we do every year. So very excited about that and looking forward to that. I got to work out the details. We had Rashad Mitchell, the author of the Top 50 Unappreciated Running Backs. He's got another book out, Underrated Quarterback. We had miscommunication today. Well, I emailed him and took him a while to get back, and by the time he did, I didn't have time to get him on the show. But we're looking forward to trying to get him to tomorrow talk about his latest book, NFL Quarterback. So make sure you guys look out for that. I think that's about it for tonight. I want to make sure I thank everybody for tuning in. Looking forward to being back in the studio tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to bringing you guys all the latest going on in the sporting world and do what I do, I guess. And of course, as I try to get all this, and I think the cold weather is actually the cold weather I think might be messing with the internet because I have been having trouble staying on all night or having my pages pop up as it keeps wanting to refresh and say shockwave flash isn't responding and all that wonderful stuff. And I'm trying to get it so I can to end this out, but it's not letting me do it. So you guys are stuck here for another second longer as there we go. There it lets me do things. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Make sure you guys are there.